Okay, we are live.
Will the members of the academic committee please come to order? At this time, I certify that a quorum of the academic committee is present. It's good to see everybody today. The regular summer meeting of the UIL Standing Committee on Academics is now in official session. For the record, it is 9:02 a.m. on Tuesday, June 16th, 2020. In accordance with the waiver to certain provisions of the Texas Open Meetings Act issued by Governor Greg Abbott on March 16, 2020, and in the interest of avoiding large gatherings and promoting social distancing during this pandemic, this meeting is being held via teleconference and is streaming live. Committee members, you should be muted at the meeting start automatically. You can unmute yourself, the bottom left-hand part of the screen, when needed. Members, I don't think there's anyone that's called in, so I'll skip that. I'm Keith Bryant, Chair of the Academic Committee and Superintendent for Lubbock Cooper ISD. My fellow committee members are Thomas Randall, who's the Superintendent of Lamar Consolidated ISD and is Vice Chair of the Academic Committee. Bobby Azam, Superintendent of Andrews. Kevin Nowak, Superintendent of Palmer ISD. Jim McClellan, Superintendent of Sanford Fritch ISD. Wayne Henderson, Superintendent of Sands ISD. Eric Wright, Superintendent of Hayes Consolidated ISD. And Ryder Warren, Superintendent Northwest ISD. So Dr. David Stevens, our Director of Academics, will now introduce our UIL staff members.
Thank you, Chair Bryant. On the call today, we have Elizabeth Sykes, Academic Administrative Associate, who has prepared the documents for today's meeting, and all 5 Assistant Academic Directors leading their various areas: Jeannie Acton, Journalism; Lisa Parker, A+ Academics and Essay Competitions; Jana Riggins, Speech and Debate; Paula Rodriguez, Theater; and David Trussell, STEM Activities.
Thank you, Dr. Stevens. And it's good to see all the UIL staff. We appreciate all the work you did during this spring time of craziness, and thank you for your efforts in keeping us informed and engaged in the important activities of UIL. Before proceeding, I will give you committee members instructions on voting. If you're connected on your computer, please click on the participants button at the bottom of your Zoom screen. A list of all participants will appear. At the bottom of the participant list, you should see options to click on yes and no. I don't think we have any members that have called in, so we should be, everyone should vote on the bottom of your screen. Going forward, please leave your vote up once you've voted until UIL staff has recorded the vote and cleared the responses. And when you make a motion, please identify yourself just so we have it clear in the minutes. Do committee members have any questions concerning how to vote? Okay, we'll move to item B, adoption of the meeting rules. Unless there's objection from the committee members, this meeting will be conducted in accordance with the 2019-2020 Constitution and Contest Rules. Hearing no objections, it is so ordered. Item C, adoption of the agenda. Unless there's objection from committee members, the agenda for the business meeting shall be as set out in your electronic agenda unless otherwise announced by the chair. Hearing no objection, the agenda is officially adopted. So members, you moving to approval of minutes, you should have received an electronic copy of the minutes of October 20th, 2019. Hopefully you've had a chance to review those. I'll give you just a moment to do so if you have not. Do I have a motion? Go ahead. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, this is Thomas Randall. I move approval.
Dr. Randall makes a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second, Keith.
Okay, Wayne Henderson seconds. Members, any further discussion? All right, then all in favor, if you will, click your participants tab and click yes or no at the bottom to vote. I think everyone's voted and the motion passes. So they've been cleared. Good job. Okay, item E, the statement of committee purpose before we move into our business items. The purpose of today's committee meeting is to consider proposals for changes in the UIL Constitution and contest rules that have academic related aspects. We will report recommendations of this committee to the Legislative Council on Wednesday, June 17th. Committee members, you have a list of motions that are usually appropriate included in the packet information you were emailed. This committee may take any action permitted by UIL rules, including any of those you see listed, or any other motion a member wishes to make. This meeting is a business meeting of the committee and not a public hearing. Presentations may not be made by outside groups or individuals. The UIL director or a designated member of the UIL staff and council members not assigned to this committee shall be recognized to speak on any issue. And as before we get into business, I failed at the beginning to recognize Dr. Charles Braddock and Dr. Jamie Harrison, our executive director and deputy executive director. Gentlemen, you have any comments you'd like to make before we get into our business portion of the meeting?
Mr. Chair, just to say thanks to the committee for their time today and giving up not only today, but tomorrow for the full council meeting. Most importantly, to our staff for the work they've done, as you mentioned, Mr. Chair, during the spring, planning for an event that didn't take place. And it's sad for us, after 109 years, it's the first time we weren't able to conduct a state academic meet. As you know, state debate is the first competition that UIL began back in 1909, 1910. So we were most saddened by that, as we were with all of our activities, but I know how hard our staff has worked. Very proud of Dr. Stevens and his staff. And thank you, committee, for your support of what we do on the academic side of things.
Thank you, Dr. Braddock. And Dr. Braddock, I do want to, on behalf of the committee, thank you for your lead in this. I know you and your staff have spent countless hours trying to make multiple plans if and when things were allowed to happen in the spring and if and when things are allowed to happen during the school year. And so I thank you for your leadership, for all the effort you've given, the wisdom and advice and direction. So thank you for that. Dr. Harrison, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, thank you, Mr. Chair. We appreciate all of the committee members being here today.
Okay, so we'll move into old business and new business, items F and G on our agenda. Pursuant to our agenda, the chair recognizes Dr. David Stevens, Director of Academics, for presentation of the old and new business. Dr. Stevens?
Chair Bryant, on the agenda under FO business number 1, review of previously considered proposals. A and B are 2 proposals regarding our computer applications contest. We were asked to study these from the October meeting. The first proposal was a concern of moving to a newer version of Microsoft Office, which is required software to be purchased for the computer applications contest. Some schools are not upgrading the software since districts are now using Google Suite in Chromebooks and not Microsoft Office. The second proposal was in regards to awarding team points for computer applications without advancing teams to grow interest in the contest and to mirror team points in journalism and speech. Our research and study revealed that the computer applications enrollment at the district level has declined in participation for the last 10 years. Basically, ever since BCIS, which the contest was built around, is no longer a required course for graduation. So as a note of interest, computer applications has evolved from the keyboarding competition, which was previously typing and was shorthand prior to that. An informal discussion with ISDs not entering computer applications reveal a lack of student interest, Microsoft Office programs not being accessible, the contest being too time-consuming and difficult to grade, and finding teachers willing to coach the event. A large think tank was conducted with coaches who are currently involved and see great value to the competition. There is a desire to award team points from that group. However, our discussions with schools not involved felt that the team points would not be an incentive enough to increase participation. Additionally, team points in speech and journalism are awarded based on a culmination of 5 events in each of those areas. So we do not have like contests in the computer applications area to combine for a fair comparison to award team points. Ready Writing is an event that mirrors computer applications with the same number of entries and no team component, and we do not see the decline in enrollment in that event. With our competition season cut short this year, we did not have the opportunity to complete our study. We would like to continue this study to see if we can explore how we can adapt this contest into something that would be of more interest to our schools. Therefore, the staff recommendation is to continue to study this proposal.
Thank you, Dr. Stevens. So committee members, do you have questions for Dr. Stevens? You've heard with the year we had, obviously, the inability to complete the study and the recommendation to move forward with study. Do you have questions or concerns or anything you want to ask Dr. Stevens or any other member about this? Okay, do we have a any action you guys want to take on this? A motion to continue study or other action you wish to take?
Chairman Bryant,
Yes.
this is Ryder Warren, Northwest. I would make a recommendation that we instruct staff to continue to study and bring a recommendation at a later time.
So motion made by Dr. Warren. Is there a second?
This is Kevin Nowak. I'll second.
Okay, Kevin Nowak seconds. Any further discussion, committee members? All right, if you would, go ahead. Sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, I didn't know if I heard something. All right, no further discussion, if you will. Let's vote using your electronic means. Okay, all members have voted. The motion carries. And I would tell you what it carried, but I don't. 6-0, I believe, is the number. Okay, Dr. Stevens.
F1C is regarding a proposal we were instructed to study in October for the A+ science contest that came to us from the public during the last meeting. Currently, 7th graders take the Science 1 test and 8th graders take the Science 2 test, and it is limited to only those students in those grade levels. Therefore, through our study of this proposal, we received positive responses to creating one general A+ science test that would be open to students in grades 6 through 8. This would align this A+ science contest with that of the A+ calculator, A+ mathematics, and correlate the contest more closely with the high school science contest. It also removes barriers to participation that currently exist with the Science 1 and Science 2 format, allowing more participation that aligns with a middle school configuration of grades 6, 7, and 8. Staff recommendation is to approve this item in concept and instruct the staff to draft appropriate language to bring back in October.
Okay, members, you've heard the staff's recommendation, and you see the proposed amendment to the Constitution contest rules that follows on your electronic information that was sent to you. Members have questions or discussion?
Mr. Chairman, Thomas Randall, Lamar Consolidated ISD. I move to approve this item in concept and instruct the staff to draft appropriate language.
Motion made by Dr. Randall. Is there a second?
I'll second that, and Bobby from Andrew.
Bobby Azam from Andrews seconds it. Any further discussion? Okay, members all in favor, please vote appropriately. Okay, everyone's voted. Motion carries 6-0. Dr. Stevens, item F1D.
D on the agenda is a proposal you heard in October from the Robotics Education and Competition Foundation, which supports VEX robotics competitions, regarding adding an additional competition platform to UIL robotics. This is not the first time we've had a proposal regarding VEX, and this committee has discussed similar proposals previously. You requested that staff study the proposal to seek a better understanding of the differences among the robotics competition platforms. Our study focused on competition season, differences, and cost. Currently, we utilize the BEST robotics platform, which has a fall competition season, and the FIRST platforms with the First Tech Challenge, FTC, and the First Robotics Competition, FRC programs, which culminate in spring championships. The VEX competition season also runs primarily in the spring, so with its present structure, the VEX calendar largely overlaps with FIRST. There are schools that compete in all three, BEST, FIRST, and VEX, or any combination of the two, or just one. Not adding VEX to the UIL program does not prevent schools from entering that competition. Cost-wise, BEST is the least expensive. The VEX competition is similar in structure, scope, and cost to the First Tech Challenge, or the FTC contest that we currently offer as part of our first division competitions. The first FRC competition involves larger robots and is the most expensive of the BEST, VEX, and FIRST contests. UIL Robotics is structured as a collaboration with all of these outside organizations, and with that structure, it is in our best interest to monitor all options. Staff recommendation is to continue to monitor this item.
Thank you, Dr. Stevens. So committee members, you've heard the recommendation to continue to monitor this item. Dr. Stevens, do you want to speak at all about any of the look at VEX kind of going along with another group in terms of a contest?
That's very preliminary, but it is just something we want to continue to monitor and see what comes of this, because all of them are great platforms. We don't want to miss any great opportunities for our students. So as long as we continue to monitor, we'll be able to hopefully bring something in the future.
Great. Okay. Members have any questions?
Mr. Chair, this is Eric Wright with Hayes CISD. I move that the Standing Committee on Academics instruct the UIL staff to continue to monitor this area of concern.
Thank you, Eric. Is there a second?
Keith, this is Ryder. I'll second it.
Thanks, Ryder. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, please vote. Okay, motion carries 8-0 for staff to continue to monitor that recommendation. Dr. Stevens, item F1, E, and F.
E and F are two remaining items on a large proposal of changes for One Act Play that we were instructed to continue to study. One is a proposal regarding the selection of One Act Play adjudicators for area, region, and state. And the second is a proposal to adopt a conflict of interest policy and procedures for One Act Play judges. The Texas Theater Adjudicator and Officials Organization, otherwise called TATAO, working with UIL staff, revised the selection process for judges at higher level contests in January. Rather than the TATAO Board of Directors making recommendations for judges as they have done in the past, a committee will be comprised of the state meet judges from the current year. For example, the 2021 state judges will recommend the adjudicators for the 2022 season. These committee members may not serve as state judges the following year, therefore they cannot recommend themselves as judges. A list of adjudicators will be recommended to UIL staff, who will then assign judges for all higher level contests. In regards to the conflict of interest proposal from this proposal, the TATAO worked with UIL staff and adopted a new conflict of interest policy this past January. The policy considers the following as conflicts of interest: familial relationships, bribes, money, gifts, favors, school district employees judging their own schools, and it prohibits judges viewing a contest play prior to judging. The policy requires the adjudicator to notify the UIL theater director immediately if any relationship exists or any issues that an adjudicator feels would impair their ability to fairly judge a contest. The UIL staff has heard these concerns and feels confident that these are positive steps to improving our contest and resolving the proposals of this study. Therefore, the staff recommendation is no further action on these proposals.
Thank you, Dr. Stevens. Members, you've heard what Dr. Stevens has discussed, and I know we've had prior discussions about this in prior meetings. Do you have any member have any questions for Dr. Stevens? Just for clarification, the recommendation is to take no further action and let this proposal go forward as he presented.
Chairman Bryant, this is Jim McClellan. I would move that the Standing Committee on Academics accept the proposal from Dr. Stevens and take no action.
Okay. And Jim, I think if we're going to take no action, we can just let it stand.
Let it go. Okay.
Okay with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any members have any questions or concerns otherwise? Okay. We will just take no action on that and move forward to item G. Excuse me, item F, number 1G, sorry.
That's good. G on the agenda is a proposal for individual and group awards for technicians in one-act play that we were asked to study from the last meeting. A questionnaire was sent to each contest manager who completed a one-act play contest this year. They sent out 262 surveys. 140 were completed and returned. The pilot process was voluntary to select these individual and group tech awards, but only one contest followed the UIL study rubric that requires a non-biased contest official to select the award. Most of the awards were selected as they were traditionally done by the directors of the contest. Considering the majority of the contests did not follow the recommended rubric of the UIL study, and because contests were canceled due to COVID-19, this proposal needs further consideration by the Theater Advisory Committee of the TETA to bring back another proposal to us in the future. Therefore, staff recommendation is no action on this proposal.
Thank you, Dr. Stevens. So members, you've heard the recommendation to take no action and need further information as we move forward. Again, similar to the last item, unless you have a comment, which you're certainly welcome to ask, or a question, we would just let this one move forward with no action.
David, this is Ryder Warren at Northwest. So are you saying that the pilot programs, they didn't do it at all, or did they try to insert a different rubric? What's the story in that?
Well, before this proposal came to us, many of the contests, local contests, were giving technical awards. And so what the advisory committee was attempting to do was try to make that a standard award. And in order to do that, we need a standard method of how we produce that award, how that's awarded, how the award is selected by a non-biased official. And traditionally, directors had always just sort of selected, or the contest manager, who may have been an administrator of the district or not necessarily a non-biased contest official, had selected the award. So there was a rubric that was put out of how to select the award by a non-biased official, and as the results showed, only one of those contests followed the rubric. So we just want to get this back to the Theater Advisory Committee and let them come up with a better idea or a new way or whatever would possibly be a way to award this award that they're requesting.
Gotcha. Thank you.
And Dr. Stevens, just for clarification, that was one out of the 140 you received back, correct?
Correct. That followed the rubric.
Okay. Other questions from committee members? Okay, unless anyone has anything, we will move forward and take no action on that item. Okay, let's move forward to new business, item G, G number 1. Dr. Stevens?
Thank you. We have combined 3 proposals, G1, A, B, and C, requesting that the chess competition, which is currently an A+ contest, be added to our high school events. At the October council meeting, we were instructed to monitor similar proposals that came from the same area of the state as these 3 proposals. We continue to review possibilities of extending chess to higher grade levels, whether that be a tournament or a paper format. But at this time, we are not ready to move forward with a proposal and do not feel that we have the interest generated from enough schools across the state. Therefore, the staff recommendation is to continue to monitor this area.
Thank you, Dr. Stevens. Questions from members on this agenda item? Okay, so you've heard the recommendation from staff to continue to monitor. Is there a motion?
This is Kevin Nowak from Palmer, Mr. Chairman. I move that the Standing Committee on Academics instruct the UIL staff to continue to monitor this area.
Thank you, Kevin. Is there a second?
This is Eric Wright. I'll second.
Thank you, Eric. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please vote yes on your computer. And the motion passes 8-0. Thank you, members. Dr. Stevens, item G1D.
D on the agenda is a proposal regarding conflict of interest rules for adjudicators in one-act play. This proposal stems from a contest where the judge was a former employee of a school participating and was also serving as a current substitute for schools in the competition. As you heard in an earlier report, the conflict of interest policy for adjudicators has received a major overhaul. The new policy addresses a part of this proposal, but does not include former or retired employees of a district. The UIL staff feels that eliminating qualified retired judges or former employees by policy could cause a financial strain on schools, particularly in our rural areas and in contests across the state where a panel of 3 judges is being used. The Total conflict of interest policy now prohibits someone from judging a contest for which the school district of their current employment competes. The adjudicators training in the one-act play handbook will clarify in the future that substitute teaching is considered employment. Additionally, one-act play directors hold a planning meeting where they have a voice in judge selection. Directors should discuss if there are possible conflicts of interest in their recommendations. Judges should also be approved by the district executive committee based upon the recommendations of the directors, so these type of conflicts can and should be avoided. We will continue to work with the judges organization to prevent occurrences such as this in the future, and we feel that the updated policy and the new procedures address the concerns of this proposal. Therefore, staff recommendation is no action.
Thank you, Dr. Stevens. So you've heard the staff recommendation for no action. Members, do you have questions, comments about this agenda item? Okay, hearing none, then we will take no action and move forward to item G, number 2.
We will move past number 2 on the agenda since we have no additional proposals from the public.
G3, staff proposals.
Under staff proposals, you will find one proposal labeled G3A in your packet for consideration regarding Congress state sweepstakes points. This comes to us from the Congress State Advisory Committee and coaches at the State Congress contest. During the competition, if a student is selected as the presiding officer of the chamber, the student does not have the opportunity to deliver speeches on the legislation being debated. These speeches are how contestants are ranked 1st through 6th place overall in the contest. Some coaches feel this is a disadvantage for their students serving in this role. This amendment would award academic sweepstakes points at the state meet to the school of the individual in each conference that finishes as the outstanding presiding officer. Currently, no points are awarded for the outstanding presiding officer awards that are presented. This change would align Congress with other academic contests that recognize a top performer or top scorer as an individual award and also receive those points. Therefore, the staff recommendation is to approve this idea in concept and instruct the staff to draft appropriate language to bring back to you in October.
Thank you, Dr. Stevens and staff, for your work on this recommendation. Are there questions or comments from members of the committee? So, Dr. Stevens, just a clarification on my end. Can you elaborate a little bit more on the Congress State Advisory Committee or the group?
This is a committee composed of teachers and coaches across the state from all different size schools and geographical regions that came together when we first adopted the Congress Committee not that long ago. We helped put all the rules and procedures in place for us to do this. We consult with them yearly and annually just to see if there's changes or recommendations needed to the contest.
Okay. Thank you very much. Members, any other comments or questions? Okay, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, Thomas Randall, Lamar CISD, I move to instruct the UIL staff to continue to monitor this area of concern.
So
Did I
Dr.
get
Randall, let me ask you this. So they're recommending actually approval of this amendment?
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Dr. Stevens, am I misrepresenting that?
No, our recommendation is to approve the idea and concept and instruct the staff to draft appropriate language.
I do apologize. That dozed off, I guess. I move that we approve the item in concept and instruct the staff to draft appropriate language.
Thank you, Dr. Randall. Is there a second?
I'll second that. Bobby is on from Andrew.
Okay, Bobby, second. Members, any further discussion? All right, if you will, all in favor, please vote. We have the motion carries 8-0. And Dr. Randall, I know you did not doze off. I think I threw everybody off with my comments, so my apologies for not having the recommendation right before I asked for the motion. These Zoom meetings are a little different. Okay, we now move to item H, announcements. Are there any announcements prior to the conclusion of this meeting? Hearing none, let me say before we adjourn, members, again, this is the first time to meet via Zoom. I think you did an outstanding job. Staff, thank you so very much for all of the information you sent to us electronically and helping us navigate in this new environment. And unless there is an objection, the regular June meeting of the Standing Academic Committee of the University Interscholastic League is now adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day, and we'll see everybody tomorrow at the full Legislative Council meeting.
Good to see everybody.
Thank y'all.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chair, good job.